Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're embarking on a truly unique deep dive. We're exploring a fascinating, maybe even provocative, collection of insights from a discourse called From Sex to Samadhi. It's a title that definitely grabs your attention, right? And the material we've received is, well, equally bold. It really explores human energy, love, and what it truly means to be informed about ourselves, not just intellectually, but like fundamentally.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how the speaker just systematically challenges almost every conventional idea we hold about love, desire, spirituality. They suggest this direct link, maybe an uncomfortable one for many, but they argue it's undeniable. Between these parts of life, we usually keep separate. So our mission for you today is really to pull out the core ideas from this source material, to help you navigate these, well, complex, even radical concepts, give you some clarity, some fresh insight, hopefully without getting tangled up in all the usual societal assumptions.
Okay, so let's dive right in with the foundational idea from this source. It argues that love, much like truth, isn't just something to be talked about or sung about, or put into poems. It's something the discourse really insists that has to be lived. It has to be known through direct experience. And the speaker points out this stark paradox, doesn't he? For thousands of years, humanity's talked endlessly about love. We've got countless songs, hymns, but actual, genuine love often feels, well, missing in our daily lives. We preach it, but do we live it? That's the question.
It's a really insightful parallel. It's almost like asking a doctor, define health. A physician can list countless diseases, right? All the symptoms. But if you press them on what health is, they might just say, well, it's the absence of disease. And the source argues love is similar. It's an innate state, fundamental. It's not something we have to create or go out and acquire. Rather, it only gets revealed when we consciously work to remove the inner blockages, the conditioning, the fears, all the stuff that hides it. Nature, the discourse suggests, doesn't really put obstacles in our way. It gives us challenges designed to awaken our hidden potential, like a seed. It needs that pressure, the darkness of the soil, to finally sprout and reach for the light. So the profound insight here is, despite all the poetry, maybe humanity's been missing the mark on lived love, because we treat it like an ideal out there, not a state inside us.
Right, and that leads us straight into maybe the most provocative claim in the whole thing. For many, it's controversial. The speaker makes this really striking, almost unsettling assertion that the main cause of humanity's lack of love comes directly from the universal condemnation of sexual energy, or calm, as the source calls it. The source claims this sexual energy is nothing less than the Ganges, the very birthplace, the Gangotri of love itself. Imagine, the speaker says, condemning the source of a powerful river. Yet for millennia, religions, gurus, cultures, they've attacked this fundamental energy, called it sin, poison, something to be ashamed of, to overcome.
And the insight is devastating, really, if you poison the source.
You starve the river.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our condemnation isn't just some moral stance. It's like an act of self-sabotage that dries up the wellspring of love.
And this connects directly to a key psychological principle the source talks about. It calls it the law of reverse effect, sometimes known as Q's law. Basically, it says the more you try to suppress something, the harder you push it down. Doesn't just vanish. It goes underground, it festers, and often comes back up in distorted, obsessive ways. Which is exactly how the source explains the paradox of our society.
Right.
We outwardly condemn sex with such fervor.
Right.
But inwardly, maybe more than ever before, we're consumed by it. And this suppression, the argument goes, leads to countless perversions. The speaker even points to statistics on homosexuality in the West, suggesting it's partly a byproduct of this deep suppression. Energy forced into unnatural channels, maybe? There's this great anecdote in the source that illustrates it perfectly, about a man determined not to talk about clothes. He became completely obsessed, couldn't think of anything else.
Right.
That intense focus on the forbidden just creates a deeper, more twisted fixation. It proves that what you resist, well, it persists. And often gets weirder.
That is a powerful point, and quite unsettling, actually. It completely shifts how you might look at things, doesn't it? Because if you see sex not as something bad or just something to be tolerated, but as this fundamental creative life energy, the whole picture changes. The discourse uses that beautiful image of ocean waves always striving to rise, to express their power. Human life similarly is presented as this endless creative process, this universal life-giving energy that, in the source's view, gets degraded just by the words we use. Sex, calm, they're so loaded.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the inherent vitality in it.
Yeah.
Precisely. And the source takes this insight even deeper. It offers a really profound observation. For many people, sex is often the only time, the only experience, where they momentarily transcend their ego. Their ordinary sense of time just dissolves.
In that fleeting, intense moment of union, they get this spontaneous glimpse of their deep inner self, a state of egolessness, and a touch of the divine maybe, a sense of timelessness being totally present. And this brief but incredibly intense experience, the Source argues, is why people pour so much energy into it. Time, risk. They're unconsciously seeking something much deeper than just physical release. They're glimpsing, in essence, a state of pure consciousness, a hint of samadhi maybe, even if later they regret the loss of power, as they might call it, or feel guilty.
Wow. So it's almost like this hidden primal quest for something spiritual, even if it's totally misunderstood or denied. That reminds me so much of the Khajuraho temple's metaphor the Source uses. It's brilliant. This is where the architecture speaks volumes, right? The outer walls are covered in these explicit dynamic sexual sculptures, but the inner sanctum, the Garbhagriha, that houses serene divine figures. And the Source interprets this not as just, vulgarity next to holiness, but as a symbolic map. An inner journey. It suggests the outer circumference of life, where most people are, is consumed by sex and its energies. And only those who move beyond that preoccupation, who understand and integrate that energy instead of just repressing it, only they are truly ready to enter and experience the divine within.
It's like a curriculum carved in stone.
Exactly. A visual representation of that transformation.
Absolutely. And this is where the Source gives us this radical redefinition of brahmacharya, which is so often misunderstood as just celibacy or abstinence. Here it's not about suppression. Not at all. It's about a conscious, almost alchemical transformation of that very energy. Brahmacharya, as presented here, is about elevating sexual energy, redirecting it to a higher spiritual plane. So you can achieve brahmacharya literally, a divine way of living, a life aligned with the divine flow.
Okay.
And the discourse is emphatic. Someone who fears sex can never achieve true brahmacharya, because the fear itself is the main obstacle. It's the blockage stopping the natural flow and transformation. True freedom, true transformation, it insists, comes from understanding and transcending, not from avoidance or moral judgment.
Let's dig a bit deeper into the impact of this suppression. The Source argues it's widespread, often devastating. It claims that when sex is seen as sinful, inherently dirty, or shameful, genuine love and intimacy between partners becomes incredibly difficult, maybe impossible. Marital life, it suggests, can just become a mechanical routine, devoid of real connection, emotional or spiritual. And this condemnation, tragically, it also poisons the parent-child bond, making children feel like uninvited guests in the world, not the joyful result of genuine love. It's actually heartbreaking when you think about it that way.
And if you connect that to the wider society, the impact just radiates outward. It contributes to widespread dysfunction, collective suffering. The discourse asserts suppressed sexual energy doesn't just vanish. It finds other outlets, often manifesting directly as violence, aggression, and pervasive mental illness across society. The Source even cites some alarming statistics, like a study in New York finding only, 18% of people could be considered mentally healthy?
18%, wow.
Right. And the speaker directly asks, how can a society that condemns a core life energy expect to be sane, or balanced, or peaceful? This internal conflict, this deep societal neurosis, it inevitably shows up externally, creates a world full of tension, unhappiness.
Yeah, it certainly seems like that deep internal conflict also fuels this collective craving for quick fixes, right? The Source critiques that desire for miracles, external solutions, like believing in a magic amulet or something, to fulfill our desires or solve our problems. The speaker suggests this longing for outside help, for some instant fix, just distracts us completely from the real inner work needed to understand and transform the roots of those desires.
We'd rather hope for magic than look honestly inside. And what's particularly revealing is how this suppression leads to this deeply fractured self, where you outwardly express one thing, live one way, but inwardly feel and desire something totally different. The Source shares this poignant story about a famous painter. After 20 years, he meets this hardened criminal, and something about his eyes strikes him. Then he realizes it's the same innocent young boy he painted years ago.
Oh, wow.
And the criminal, when he realizes this, he just weeps. He sees his life journey took him from heaven to hell through years of self-denial, suppression.
That's powerful.
It really illustrates how constant self-denial, just conforming outwardly, could fundamentally warp a soul. It's a stark reminder, isn't it? True revolution, true healing starts with knowing yourself fully, unflinchingly seeing your own thorns and wounds inside, rather than projecting them or burying them or seeking outside fixes. It's about integration.
Moving from the individual outward again, the discourse also looks critically at the idea of true youth. The speaker laments that India, despite its huge population, ironically lacks true youth. Not age, but spirit. He means individuals with the vibrancy, the courage, the willingness to struggle against injustice, superstition, hypocrisy. It contrasts this perceived complacency with places where youth might actively challenge authority, protest poverty, demonstrate real self-reliance, citing China's refusal of aid as an example of that kind of spirit.
It's a call for a different kind of strength, really, rooted in inner conviction. And what's really groundbreaking here is the practical path to transformation the Source offers. It moves from theory to actual practice. It gives this detailed, almost instructional guide on transforming sexual energy into profound meditation. The core teaching is about observing the peak moment of union in sex with total awareness, absolute awareness, like consciously controlling your breath, maintaining unwavering consciousness, not falling into the usual unconsciousness of orgasm. By doing this, the Source explains, you can learn to extend that intense fleeting moment from seconds to maybe even hours.
Hours.
Wow. This sustained conscious experience, this mindful observation, it argues, can lead directly to a state like Samadhi, profound meditative absorption, merging with divine consciousness. And through this process, sexual desire naturally, permanently transcends itself. Not through painful suppression, but through deep understanding, conscious use, complete integration. It's like radical energy alchemy.
That is a profound reframing, taking something primal and making it a spiritual path. And it connects directly to something else vital the Source emphasizes, the true liberation of women. The discourse powerfully argues women's real freedom isn't just political equality or, imitating men.
Right.
Instead, it lies in achieving genuine economic independence and, crucially, breaking free. Free from the historical and societal suppression of their unique sexuality and emotions. This freedom, the Source suggests, is absolutely essential for both men and women to connect on a much deeper, more authentic level. And it's this profound union, this liberation from old constraints, that creates the fertile ground for potentially birthing what the Source calls supermen. Not like superheroes, but a new human consciousness, liberated from fear, guilt, suppression, capable of genuine love and insight.
If we connect that to the bigger picture, this whole journey of transformation is ultimately about achieving true freedom. Freedom from fear itself. The Source draws this crucial distinction, being God-fearing versus being God-loving. God-fearing is driven by fear, often leads to aggression, control, suppression. God-loving is driven by affection, respect, deep reverence for life.
That makes sense.
And it suggests religions have often used fear to control people, building these elaborate prisons of dogma, guilt, rules. True liberation, then, means breaking free from all isms, all ideologies, external authorities, even seemingly good gurus who, however well-meaning, can become new chains if you rely on them externally. There's that vivid story of the king offering his own begging bowl to a beggar.
Right, completely flipping expectations.
Exactly, showing true humility, freedom from ego. And that beautiful anecdote about Gandhi leaving his rosary behind because he realized it was holding on to him, not the other way around. These stories really show how bondage is often internal, an illusion we create.
So after this extraordinary deep dive, what does this all mean for you listening right now? For your own life? This powerful discourse is suggesting that maybe, instead of fighting our deepest energies, denying our natural impulses, understanding and embracing them might actually be the only path to true liberation, to a richer, more authentic life. It really challenges us to reconsider how society and maybe our own minds have twisted our views on love, sex, spirituality, turning them into sources of pain instead of power.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the really big picture, this perspective invites you to pause, to genuinely ask yourself, what hidden assumptions might you be holding about your own life force, your own energy, your desires? What might you be unconsciously suppressing without even realizing it? And how might that be subtly impacting your ability to truly love, to be your authentic self, to fully experience the richness and potential of your own existence?
As the discourse concludes, it leaves us with this really powerful thought. By courageously understanding ourselves, by shedding those layers of conditioning, fear, guilt, we don't just find some superficial peace. Instead, we ignite this profound revolution within, one that has the potential to transform not just our individual lives, but maybe, just maybe, the very fabric of human experience. So the question is, what will you choose to explore next on your own remarkable journey of self-discovery?